Welcome to the Power of Design podcast. My name is Jack Ossa. I'm an architect, born and raised in Colombia, South America. Years ago, I migrated to the United States to follow my dreams, and today I'm the founder and principal of Ossa Studio, a multidisciplinary architectural design firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. In this podcast, we talk about design, business, creativity, and the inspiration we need to create an exciting and powerful built environment.
In this episode of the Power of Design podcast, Clayton Sealey shares how his passion for design, urban planning, and the arts shapes the future of Charlotte. From CLT development to his role at the Mint Museum and Charlotte's Planning Commission, Clayton reveals what it takes to create inclusive, connected cities. Discover how cultural vision drives real change.
Clayton, welcome to the Power of Design podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a busy day, but the day is winding down, and I'm excited to be here with you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm excited to catch up. We just chat a little bit, and I think you were in the show about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is it's amazing that it's been that long. But I'm excited to learn more about what had happened, during these 4 years, and what's going on in the future for you. So why don't we start by just maybe giving a quick recap of who you are and how did you get to where you are today for people that maybe are not familiar with the original episode.
Yeah. So when I was last on, I was working with Southwood Corporation as their marketing director, and also working on business development and design. I also at that time, I was still and am still today running CLT development on Instagram and on Twitter, and as a journalistic endeavor, writing for people in Charlotte from, at the time, Charlotte Agenda, now Axios, to Charlotte Observer, Charlotte 5, a lot of different organizations as well, working through their social media accounts and running different social media accounts for different buildings and communities throughout Charlotte.
Yep.
And today I'm working for the Mint Museum as their senior director of marketing and communications, making sure that people come to the museum today, as well as helping with fundraising, bringing in different exhibitions every once in a while. Recently helped bring in a skateboard deck exhibition that's opening here in Charlotte this summer, along with a sneakers exhibition. Had nothing to do with the sneakers exhibition.
Yeah.
But our goal is to make sure people understand that the Mint Museum is not the Mint Museum that their grandparents went to. It's the Mint Museum for everyone in the city of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And making sure that we branch out to all different communities here. We're really proud to say that our visitation is a perfect slice of Charlotte demographically, and we strive to make sure we're open to everyone. Beyond that, I'm a planning commissioner with the city of Charlotte. I have the opportunity and honestly the honor to opine on different rezonings in Charlotte. We pass them, we fail them, and we get the opportunity to help chart the growth of Charlotte in the Planning Commission. And we also get to work on the community area plans and the various acquisitions that the city of Charlotte makes, whether it be water, whether it be sewer, whether it be schools, police, fire department. So that's just a slice of kind of what I'm doing. I guess I also do a little bit of public policy work as far as local government and state government goes, and doing quite a bit of transit advocacy as well on the side, really trying to make sure that Charlotte is a well-connected place, that we keep growing as a city, but also make sure that we make responsible decisions on how the city grows.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, you have a really good story and unique mix of a passion for design, urban development, and arts. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think that's how we read it. You take those three things and you combine them, and you get you get to have the luxury of work
Mm-hmm.
on something to make money, just doing what you like and what you love.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, my interest in the arts comes from my love of cities, because when you go to a city like New York or Chicago or even St. Louis, you go to the greatest cities in America, and even some of the former greatest cities in America, like Cleveland.
Yeah.
And you see a cultural footprint that ties a city together. It's kind of like culture is like the glue that attaches, that ties a city together, that makes it walkable. You
Right.
have those experiences that you can capture, that beckons you in and makes you come back.
Yeah.
So we can't have a successful city in Charlotte. We can't have a successful urban fabric without those cultural moments.
Right.
And that's why I ended up at the Mint Museum.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm curious to know or to learn why are you in Charlotte? Because when you're with your background, with your experience, with what you have seen, there are plenty of cities and places that are very interesting. Maybe more developed, maybe different things. What is attractive to you that makes you make the decision to say, yeah, I'm gonna be here?
Well, it's funny. When I went off to college, so I was born and bred in Charlotte, spent my first 18 years of life here, and then went on to Savannah, Georgia. I always had loved buildings. My dad built buildings, the Westin here in Charlotte,
Oh, wow.
and One Wells Fargo were all projects that like he was a part of, his firm was a part of. And I had the opportunity to be on the Westin when I was 14 years old in a hard hat, watching the last floor get poured.
Nice. Wow.
And that kind of put a bug in me. So I went off to Savannah College of Art and Design to be an architect.
Yeah.
Turned out I was a little too impatient for something like that because I don't know who lets 18-year-olds decide their life,
Yes.
but we do that.
Yeah.
So I decided I want to go to branding and advertising instead. But so I fell in love with Savannah, and Savannah just like made me just like yearn for urban places. And then I met my wife. We moved back to Charlotte for a little bit. When I went to Savannah, I wasn't planning coming back to Charlotte ever.
Right.
Then we came back and lived here for a year, and we watched the light rail open. I was there first day, rode on the first car with my friend Sonny, and we rode through South End, and I said, wow, this place is going to change. And South End was warehouses and
Right.
maybe one or two mixed-use buildings. Maybe one. I'm going to go with one. And the light rail, you knew it was going to change. I didn't even know what transit-oriented development was at that time.
Right.
But I knew that this would create something like that. Learned the term later, of course.
Yeah.
And then my wife and we had moved back here to save up to move to New York City. So we lived in Brooklyn for 12 years. And through that 12 years, I experienced everything that there is to experience about urban living.
Yeah.
We would walk 15, 16,000 steps a day. We would, exist in a lifestyle where, the grocery store was a 3-minute walk away, where the pharmacy was a 5-minute walk away, and the park was at our front door. Like we got to experience while it was fast-paced life, such a slow-paced life, because, you had so much opportunity everywhere you went. And like that made me desire to bring that back home.
Sure.
And we were in New York for 12 years working. I worked in the advertising industry. I worked in publishing. I worked in fashion. I worked in, everything you can imagine. I worked at a bakery for a little bit. I cooked in a kitchen. I had so many different experiences, but, we always kind of had an expiration date on New York. We were trying to be there for 10 years. And I really started making those moves after year 10.
Yeah.
I started writing for different places in Charlotte. I was encouraged by a couple of development writers here to start submitting my own stuff. So I started writing for Charlotte Agenda at the time. Well, I guess Charlotte 5 and
Yep,
Charlotte
I
Observer
remember that.
first. And then I went to Charlotte Agenda, Axios. And then after a while, I decided, well, I should I should have a brand of my own. So that's when CLT Development was born.
Yep.
So, and CLT Development was born not just as a place to put content, but a place to network.
Yeah.
So I'd be able to talk to developers because I was interested in being in the development world and help, because I saw developers communicating incorrectly. They were communicating only to potential tenants, and generally that's not how you're getting tenants. It's not through social media,
Right.
but how you're getting buy-in from the community is
Yep.
what you do with social media.
That's right.
You want to have your neighbors accept you, want you to be there, and know that you're trying to be a part of the community.
Yes.
So I tried to have, I wanted to approach people in that manner, and CLT development gave me that opportunity. And then COVID springboarded that.
Right.
And I was really able to start being in people's offices and in people's boardrooms, but not like this, over Zoom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that Zoom stuff, made it super easy. And then, COVID hit. New York was a scary place to live. And I ended up at Southwood Corporation, which is where I was with last time we talked.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think I've rehashed too much from the previous episode, because a lot of these were realizations that I've had over the years of why I did what I did.
Yep.
Like why that was a good path, and continuing to build up that profile, build up that persona, make sure people knew who I was. It allowed me to meet people, put together a dang good resume and list of references so that I could land at the Mint. So,
Yeah. No, absolutely. You have been doing a great job with your personal brand. I think just leveraging social media and everything that you're involved with is very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what makes a brand important, that is consistent. Everybody starts an Instagram account, everybody starts a podcast, a blog. 3 months later, who's still standing?
Exactly.
It's hard. So that consistency is really important, and it shows everyone that you are serious about what you care about.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. And it also just taught me like how much I cared about this city. And I mean, like you asked, why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's my place of birth. And honestly, I think that, this is now the 14th largest city in the country. By 2032, we'll be the 11th.
Wow.
So we're growing at a precipitous rate that somebody needs to be there cheerleading for good decisions, because we don't always make them.
That's right.
And, making sure that we can actually push public policy in a way and try to, get our transit system done before 2053.
Yeah.
2053 is when we'll become the 10th largest city.
Yeah.
And looking at how growth works, we'll be at 2 million people within the city limits by then.
Yeah.
So we can't beleaguer this. We need to build transit. We need to create more mobility options, because we'll choke with traffic if we get to 2 million people without actually people will stop moving here.
Yes.
Unless we address some of the issues that we have.
Yeah.
So
what are some of the most surprising things you have found when you joined the planning, committee, that you're surprised? You're like, wow, I didn't know these things were like that. Positive or negative?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think the biggest surprise for me was just how granular the process is. Pre-UDO, I don't think the process was quite as granular as it is. Granular meaning like every single lot in Charlotte, every single project from a single family to a shed to a ADU to a 400 unit multifamily building. Before I was here with you, I actually toured a new multifamily building in NODA just to shoot content for it. And like every single thing is looked at, is reviewed, is approved. And I don't think I realized it was quite that granular. Mm-hmm. And then it's funny, I walked into the process of planning commission being gung-ho on regulations, and now I am not as much for regulations. And I think that some of this needs to be a little freer than it is.
Yeah.
Build things safely, obviously, and make sure that we have a plan to how to address like where growth goes. But I don't think we need to hold hands through the process.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting dynamic because, from my side, from the architecture and design side, where, we're either going through maybe a rezoning or we're just going to do something and we just need to comply with zoning regulations. And from my end, sometimes I feel that I understand the structure and how detailed things should be, because it makes sense. It's just like checks and balances. Somebody could be very responsible, and if nobody's checking, the process makes a lot of sense. But also, I've seen at some point the requirements sometimes become too prescriptive, where I understand the purpose. You want things to be harmonious and you want things to be kind of congruent with one each other, and that's what those rules are there. But sometimes they're too much. Like you have 3 choices of material, and you have to have these openings, this size, where it's basically the building is being designed for you. Once you finish, your options for your creativity are not too many.
Yeah. And it leads to monotony.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I think, one of the biggest complaints as somebody that interacts with the community through social media and through other means in so many different ways, like that is one of the biggest complaints is monotony. And honestly, not only is the monotony forced by the financial aspect of it, trying to make a formula, especially on larger buildings, but then the zoning kind of slashes any creativity you can have. And it's so rare. There's a select few examples in Charlotte that are truly magnificent.
Right.
Excuse me. In design. And like, wow, that one threw me off. Few examples that are incredible in design, and a lot of them really happens in those like unlimited districts, like the TODs, the transit oriented development districts, and the urban edge, and those community center districts. It's like you can do a little bit, but like so much of it gets slashed out by the requirements.
Right. Yeah, it's part of the process. I think overall, I've been in Charlotte for 20 years now, and I love it. I don't plan on moving every time I go somewhere else. I enjoy other cities for 4 or 5 days, but then I start missing Charlotte pretty quick, because this is a nice city.
Yeah.
It's nice. People are nice. Traffic still very decent, and I really like how the city has been planned. I remember years ago hearing about, Charlotte 2020 and then Charlotte 2040, and that forward thinking, you can see it. It's not perfect and you can do more. However, they're doing it. They're trying, and they're doing a pretty decent job. And you see it out there. When I drive, a friend of mine came last weekend. We went to the Metallica concert. He came from Miami, and it was his first time in Charlotte. He was impressed. He was like, "This city is beautiful. This is incredible." I'm like, yeah, it is.
I think people take things for granted. When they're there every day, some of those incredible things start to fade into the distance, because honestly, it's your everyday life. But like one of the things that I love to do is since I'm car light, I only have access to a car 1 day a week, which is Fridays, of course, Saturdays and Sundays, but like from a commuter standpoint.
Sure.
And I have to be in a lot of places. Yeah. So I try to ride the bus as much as I can. Yeah. And get to observe the world as a passenger. And I think that like really like a lot of people are driving here and there, and they're only focused on one thing, and that's not dying on Charlotte roads.
Right.
So, but when you're on the bus, you have the opportunity to see the things that you might not have noticed as a driver.
Yeah.
Same thing with on the train. I take the train every day to work, and I get to watch the city grow up around me and take and appreciate some of the work that like Shook Kelly and some of the work that I can't think of their name right now. The people that designed the joinery that Spacecraft did. Can't think of it. Anyways.
BBM?
No, not BBM.
Cluck?
Yes, Cluck.
Yes.
Some of the work that Cluck Design did. Not to plug competitors.
Oh no, dude. I admire my competitors.
Yeah,
they're great.
But like some of the work that they've put together in the Optimus Park neighborhood, like seeing that stuff come together, and then know that the Cross Charlotte Trail is already started going through that area, and just seeing the ways we're knitting these neighborhoods together, I think is really impressive. And it's unique in the South, because if you go to Atlanta, yes, they have the Beltline. Yeah. But the Beltline, once you exit the Beltline, it's kind of That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
But, you look at the Mill District and look at Noda, Villa Heights, Optimist Park, and even starting to move into Sugar Creek. Like you can see a vision there for how to connect the city together.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. I went to Atlanta 2 weeks ago because I have cousins there, and we went to the Bedline. The Ponce City Market is amazing. That adaptive reuse project is incredible.
Yeah.
But it's, you need to drive for a while just to get there, and you can be around, but that's it. There is not a lot of connections. I saw they were doing a massive project. I don't remember what's the name. I don't remember if it's the Millennium Park or something, but all around the stadium, they're doing a massive redevelopment. Still it's on their way, probably in the early beginnings, but at least the story and renderings look pretty
They look
amazing.
incredible. I can't remember what it's called.
Very
either.
pedestrian friendly.
Yeah.
It's a massive project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
really
needed.
Cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need it. Well, so what will you change if you could have a magic wand and change one thing in Charlotte urban development or whatever it's happening? What will you change?
Honestly, probably street design. And I mean, I guess if I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna put this under one bucket.
Yeah.
So that I can have several things, and I'm gonna say mobility. I think mobility has its challenges here. In Charlotte, we're super lucky to have a mild winter. As a person that gets around primarily on my feet and by public transit, it's actually pretty pleasant to commute here, except in August in the afternoon. That's the only time it's uncomfortable. And luckily you're getting home and you can just hop in the shower and you'll be fine. Street design, and then how our streets interact with transit. Like if we could get that right, you can see where there's potential, and you can see where DOT and the city of Charlotte have made huge strides, especially in the Noda neighborhood, even Plaza Midwood. Plaza has some projects on the horizon, as does Elizabeth, that are really going to help stitch those areas together. And when you look at College Street in Uptown right now, they just put in a great separated bike lane.
Yeah.
And those, while they're only lightly used right now because, they still need their connections, they make streets safer for pedestrians because you have a lot, shorter of a distance to walk and a lot safer of a walk to cross the street. So I would do that in a heartbeat.
That's really interesting. When, I grew up in Bogota, Colombia, right now, probably 9.5 million people, very dense. You don't need to own a car. It's like New York City. Public transportation, you can live all your life without owning a car, which is really nice. And when you mention experiencing the city, as a passenger, I really, I resonated with me because I remember growing up, going to school. It was always, in a bus for 90 minutes, 1 hour, but I was just watching. And it was fun to go through the same neighborhood for years.
Yeah.
And then you see, they painted the facade. They changed this. And you start noticing these little things that happen that if you're driving, you're not paying attention because you're paying attention to the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as as an ADHD kid growing up, it's like I took such solace, and I really took the time to observe out the window, and that was my best time to chill, to center myself. That bus ride into school could be so cathartic, just sitting there and watching the world go by. I remember, gosh, this is a deep cut, but I remember when the Arboretum just popped up one day, because I went to Charlotte Latin, and I'd have to take the bus all the way out from where I grew up in Myers Park, Foxcroft area.
Right.
Took the bus all the way out there, and I remember it was first grade or kindergarten. Suddenly there was an Arboretum. Where'd that come from? And you come back from summer break, and you don't expect a whole new urbanist development to come up, or I guess suburban development to pop up. But it was so cool to ride past that every day.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Tell me more about your role at the Mint Museum, and maybe start by kind of describing what the Mint Museum is, what it represents here in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like, how did they start, and what's their mission, and how do you support that mission?
Yeah, for sure. So the Mint Museum is North Carolina's oldest art museum. So we have two facilities. One building opened in 1936. It's called the Mint Museum because originally it was located in Uptown Charlotte, and it served as the second U.S. mint after Philadelphia. So we actually minted gold coins. Not everyone knows this, but Charlotte was the site of the first gold rush in America before the more famous one happened in California. So we minted coins there, and then that facility closed in 1933. It had been a lot of things, from an assay office. At one point, unfortunately, it was the Charlotte headquarters of the Confederacy.
Yeah.
So, but that building was slated to be torn down in 1933 to make way for what is now the federal courthouse. At the time was the post office. And a group of women got together, purchased it for a very low price. I can't remember the exact number, but it was in the hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
And they moved it and rebuilt it on Randolph Road in the Eastover neighborhood, kind of as almost an amenity to the new neighborhood that was being built. The goal was to make it a museum. They opened on day one with not a single item in the collection. And they had a big exhibition where they borrowed from all over the world. So that's kind of the background on it. So we have two facilities. Like, as I said, one is in Uptown Charlotte, right on Tryon Street. That's the largest of our two facilities. It is a super modern building. It opened in 2010, sorry. As part of at the time, would have been a Wells Fargo building, or then it became Duke Energy. Now it's Wells Fargo again.
Yeah.
And it joined the Beckler, the Gant, the Knight Theater as part of the Levine Center of the Arts.
Yeah.
So that building hosts a completely different set of collection from Randolph. Randolph has our decorative arts, has our African collection, our Mesoamerican collection, as well as our European arts collection, and also a special exhibition space. And then Uptown has our American collection, our contemporary collection, two more exhibition spaces, our craft design, and occasionally fashion. Our fashion swaps between both locations. Interestingly enough, we have the largest collection of fashion garments in the Southeast, with about 13,000 objects of fashion. That could be, not many do.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of research to confirm that we were the largest in the Southeast, as long as you don't count Texas, which I don't count them as the Southeast. So fashion is very hard to exhibit because clothing wears over time, so you can only have it out for so much time in the light, and you have to treat it so delicately. It's tough to do an exhibition around that. But so at the Mint, our mission is really just to be a place where, people can come to the museum, learn about art, respond through art, be a more wholesome person through art. People think of a museum as a place, where you look at pretty things on walls.
Right.
And really what we're trying to be is a third place and a safe space.
Yeah.
A place where people can escape their lives and learn something different. But we also have, incredible, not just exhibitions, but programs that we do, whether it be engaging kids through making art, through learning about art, and whether it be bringing, young adults in here and adults in with DJs and big parties. We had a 2,500 person club party called FOMO Night just a few months back. We have another one happening in September.
Oh, nice.
Like, when you come to the Mint Museum, you can expect the unexpected.
So how do I know about what's going on?
I mean, you can follow us at
website,
at the Mint Museum on both Instagram, TikTok, on Facebook, and then you got mintmuseum.org.
Yep.
We have our events calendar. We also have a really robust newsletter with a ton of subscribers now.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're engaging people in a ton of different ways.
That's exciting.
So, yeah. If I could figure out how to do skywriting just to get people to come to the Mint, I would totally do it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I remember when the museum was being designed and built, that was designed by Machado and Silvetti out of Boston. Um, and I think Machado is from Argentina. And I remember they came to Charlotte a couple of times to do AIA presentations, lectures about the design. And I toured the project a couple of times during construction and when they finished it, and it was amazing. It was a beautiful design, very minimalistic. Those guys are amazing at museum design. And it looks great, man. I love it. The materiality, the aesthetics from outside, how it engages the street. It's a really nice building.
Yeah. I honestly, one of my favorite aspects of that building is how the soffits actually like continue into the building. So the soffits up front continue into the ceiling above the atrium and just like go straight back, and they continue into the boardroom and into so many different public spaces, and it's all like wood. It's so beautiful, contrasted with the concrete exterior. It's such and then the monumental staircase and the giant windows. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's a very well designed building, as well as the Beckler Museum.
Oh yeah,
I think it was the same story. I remember Mario Botta coming here, doing lectures, and the contrast with the Beckler and all the buildings around that is tiny, but you see that terracotta materiality is beautiful. It still looks like the day they built it. It looks great.
It does. I remember one day, a year and a half ago, I think, someone actually did graffiti on that.
Oh.
And I wanted to hunt them
oh my gosh,
down.
Dude, like that. No.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thankfully, it power washed off, and it was discolored for a little bit, and I think the discoloring has worn away a little bit. I haven't noticed it in a while. But I wanted to literally, I've never wanted to hunt someone down more in my life, because that Beckler building is one of the most gorgeous in Uptown.
It is. It is very nice. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The Power of Design podcast is brought to you by Ossa Studio, a multidisciplinary design firm focused on creating impactful experiences through the power of design. We partner with our clients to create buildings, interior spaces, brands, and strategies that help you deliver a successful project. As a minority-owned firm, we are committed to building a diverse platform of curious and driven design professionals so we can together pursue our full potential. For more information, please visit us at www.ossastudio.com.
So, what kind of exhibitions are happening at the Mint right now? And what are like good things for the summer to enjoy?
Yeah, so right now we have an Annie Leibovitz exhibition. It's kind of she wouldn't want me to call it this, but it's kind of a retrospective of her work, going back into the 70s. It's like 50 years of her career.
Wow.
From when she started off as a Nixon staffer, following him around on the campaign trail, to today, where she shoots people like Taylor Swift and Kendrick Lamar and Obama, LeBron James. There's 500 photographs in the show.
Wow.
Between exhibition prints that are stuck up on the wall on Hemisoak, I think it's called, which is just kind of like a spongy material. It's supposed to be evocative of her studio itself and how she does storytelling. To 5 10-foot wide digital screens that show some of her most recent work with some of the most famous people. And parts of it are not just about these people, but it's also about these places that she's been and these materials. It kind of thinks about the longevity of human life, but also how nature goes on.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting juxtaposition. And then today, we had our media opening for Kaleidoscope, which is the De La Torre brothers' retro perspective. The De La Torre brothers are from Baja California. They do incredible glass and lenticular work. It's indescribable. It is mind-bending, and you have to see it for yourself.
Wow. I want to see it now.
So this fall, We are opening, this summer, we're opening a Santos de Palo exhibition, which explores the Santos figurines that are from Puerto Rico.
Sí.
And so basically Santos, when Catholicism came to Puerto Rico through the Spanish, farmers, agrarian people that couldn't get to churches still needed to find a way to have devotion. So they carved little figurines to honor the Virgin Mary, the three wise men, three kings. And so it's like 188 of these little figurines, and like some of them are 250 years old, and some of them are like from today and like modeled after Bad Bunny and things like that. And cool. Then we have a sneakers exhibition from the Bada Shoe Museum. It is called, it's such a long name, by the way. It is called, I can't think of what it's called right now. That's bad.
Too much information.
Anyways, we have a sneaker exhibition, and that's being partnered with actually a skateboard deck exhibition.
That's cool.
That I helped bring in. And that's a nonprofit called Decade. And they bring together skateboard deck collections from all over the world, from famous skateboarders, from just skateboard deck collectors. And that will be running the same time just completely in partnership with each other. We're planning things like a sneaker battle, which will just be people competing to have the freshest looks. We're having panel discussions. Hopefully we have a couple panels with professional athletes, as well as panels with professional skateboarders. It's going to be a really exciting time to be at Randolph. And like, we're really trying to bring so much more life into that, because, for every 7 guests to Uptown, there's like 1.5 to Randolph. Randolph is not as easy to do exhibitions at, because last time it was renovated was in the late 80s.
Right.
So it's not as much up to museum specs as like the Uptown location is.
Sure.
So the finer things like Picasso end up at Uptown. Because we have bigger elevators, we have bigger doorways, we can get large scale art. And one of the cool things with Kaleidoscope is you have 10-foot wide glass pieces in the show. It's absolutely incredible. So it's, it's a really amazing place to work. So
that's awesome. Well, it seems that you're having fun.
I definitely am. It's been really interesting to train my mind. To market something. I went from signage to, and really before that, I was working with some of the biggest brands in the world when I was in Brooklyn, and then going to signage, and then going to art. It's like we all have this opportunity to learn different vocations throughout our lifetime. And I actually, when I was at Savannah College of Art and Design, I did have a minor in art history and architectural history. So I did have exposure to a lot of these things. And but this has given me such a new appreciation. And when we lived in New York City, I maintained a membership to the Met, so we were there all the time. But like, getting to actually be at a museum and work there every day has been so cool.
That's amazing. And I will think that the whole organization and how the museum is, their leadership is organized and making things happen. They have created an environment for people like you to thrive, right? And that will be including exciting work, but also it looks like to me from outside that you have a lot of freedom. And you feel very comfortable exercising that freedom. And they can see when executing those maybe crazy ideas, they're like, this makes sense, which it goes along with the concept and idea of a museum. You bring in artists that they're doing crazy ideas, and you're creating a platform for them to do what they know how to do.
It's true. And honestly, I have been able to have a good amount of freedom there, and I had a great leadership team with me at the Mint Museum. And, a lot of this work a lot of the reason why so much of my CLT development efforts have gotten through public policy is so that we continue to have, really solid open channels of communication with our local government, as well as stakeholders in the community, so that, I can continue to reach out, meet corporations, help doing fundraising, bringing people in the door, creating partnerships. So like the things that I do through CLT development and through planning commission, I'm able to leverage in a way that benefits the museum. So I've definitely afforded a good amount of flexibility, and it's awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What will be the most amazing version of the next 10 years of your life?
Oh, man. I got a couple of things that I'm working on that I think could completely revitalize Uptown.
Okay.
I can't really say much more than that.
Sure.
But I think there are steps that can be taken to make Uptown Charlotte so much more desirable from a cultural and from an urban perspective, as well as an open space perspective.
Nice.
And I'm trying to make sure that the right people are hearing my ideas.
Yes.
I even have drawings of my ideas.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is, I've gotten to a point where people are listening to me now.
Nice.
And they're wanting to work with me.
Oh, nice.
So while I'm not an architect like I set out to be, I'm still changing the built environment all the time. So
nice. Very nice. Well, know that I'm here to support you.
Yeah.
And if you need our help, man, we'll be glad to join your team and do things together because, on my end, like I'm growing my business. I'm doing the best that I can within, my context, our clients, things, what we do. And then we started getting, more projects. Things are getting more exciting. But it's always a push and pull, right?
Yeah.
So, I need to run a business. It needs to be profitable. It needs to happen. I need to be efficient. And at the same time, it's like in the back of my mind, like, every project is an opportunity to do great design,
it is.
to have an opportunity to create a great environment for people, a great urban environment. So that's always back there. And I remember many years ago, I did a presentation to the planning department about urban planning in Bogota, where I grew up, because Bogota, as a massive, huge city, urban planning and pedestrian use of the space is huge. So it's very common to see sidewalks that are 15 feet, 20 feet. There is no lack of sidewalks anywhere, even if it's suburbs. You always have parks. You always have sidewalks. You have nice materials, urban plazas. You have the best quality because it's
so
for
much
the
brick
people
too.
Yeah. And I remember that was probably 15, 20 years ago, giving a presentation where showing, hey, this is what everybody has access to. And that's one of the things that I don't see too much here in Charlotte is the lack of sidewalks. Something basic. Even if it's a suburb, that's fine. You still need to walk. You still need to walk your dog or run. And most of these massive, residential developments, they probably have a tiny sidewalk on one side, and it seems that checks the box, and then, or you're running on a sidewalk and it ends, and there is nowhere to go.
Yeah, and that's, gosh, when I moved back to Charlotte, one of the things that I would post about pretty often is the old trope of the children's book where the sidewalk ends, and like I would just take pictures and say where the sidewalk ends. And like that really that goes into that mobility aspect.
Oh yeah.
And like how important that is. And like I think it sounds like we have very similar magic wand wishes.
Yes.
So like just to be able to walk around Charlotte and see interesting things and just be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just things that are very basic. One of the things when you mentioned the graffiti, which is interesting because we don't have a lot of graffiti here. But still, when you go to cities that are full of graffiti, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a form of art.
Yeah.
It looks great. There is a documentary, I don't remember the name. It's probably 30 years old. And the documentary is in New York City, where, there is so much graffiti in New York City. It's crazy. But it's about these companies that they get hired to hide the graffiti. So, everybody, somebody paints something and they just go over it with a roller and they just do squares and things like that. So they started analyzing what they did and they realized that was a form of art. and it was very like cubist, very abstract, modern. They relate to artists from the 1920s, and they're just like unconscious art. These guys is like just cover it, and they go up and down. They do a square, two squares, but then they start taking pictures of the composition.
Yeah.
And it was incredible.
Yeah.
A whole new art form created by covering graffiti.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I have to walk on under the 36th Street Bridge, under the light rail all the time. And like, that's a huge place for people to tag. And sure enough, a square of gray will end up there within a few days.
Yes.
And like urban art and just like the things that urban artists have done here with graffiti, but, exterior murals has been one of the things that has changed Charlotte so much.
Yeah.
And given it all that texture that we used to lack in a lot of different ways. And I've had the opportunity to work with a ton of those artists now. And I just can't help every time I'm in a different city. And I'm lucky to say over the past year, I've been, I've ridden trains in both Germany, in Austria, and Spain. And I've gotten to see like all of these different art forms that exist along those train lines, because for almost the entire distance you ride on a train through the city, every single wall on the side of those trains is graffitied.
Yes.
Every single square inch for
Even
miles.
places that you're like, how did they get up there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, they don't cover it. It's a form of self-expression. I mean, I'm sure that people get arrested because they're doing dangerous stuff, but their art lives on. And people continue to, cover it up, paint over it. And that's almost a form of etiquette.
Yeah.
You always have to make sure you replace it with something better.
Yeah.
So, and there's I don't know if you've been to Teo Gallery.
No, I haven't.
No, you need to get there. It's at 25th and North Brevard Street.
Okay.
Right in Optimus Park. It was started by Sidney Duarte, and someone whose name I can't remember right now, which I'm having a problem with apparently. I blame the bottle of wine
I think
that you
need more
opened.
Wine to stimulate your memory.
But like Teo Gallery, they have like maybe a dozen or so really long wooden panels that just get painted over and over and over. And people just get to go experiment there. They have classes there. I believe next week, I'm going to be in Alaska next week, so I'm going to miss it. But next week they have a market and just like bands and food trucks, and they're going to have a party there to celebrate what they've created that's been there for the past year or so. And, they do yoga there, but ultimately it's a place of self-expression. It's where people get to practice their art in a low stakes environment where they don't have to worry about getting caught or getting in trouble. And they can perfect their work so that they can start getting commissions and getting paid.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I feel that you're part of the crowd that is
Osiris Rain is the name. Osiris
yes.
Rain and Sidney Duarte. So
I was thinking about how historically Charlotte has been banking city, right? And you have all these corporations, and you have Duke Energy, and you have these massive corporations with a lot of like office workers, where at some point there is an image and an environment that is too strict and too square, and there is that counterbalance that all the people that are doing what you're doing, that are supporting the arts, that are supporting creative ideas and entrepreneurship, all these things that are more granular and human work, counter all that, let's say, success that had happened in the last maybe 20, 30 years in Charlotte, that it could become very robotic.
Yeah.
Which it brings a lot of, let's say, abundance, financial abundance, because everything is nice, people have money, they're good houses, but at some point it becomes very robotic, and people are not really enjoying their day-to-day, enjoying each other, doing things with their hands, being more human.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is a lot of things that happen in Charlotte go unseen, especially in the art community, because like so much of the media is like geared towards food and beverage, and for openings and things like that. But there's like a robust underground art scene, particularly in the BIPOC community, fashion shows, of music. I mean, we have incredible fashion designers and rappers and street artists and people doing incredible cultural activations that are starting to get noticed, but don't get as much notice as your, regional chain opening up in South End. And I think recalibrating how we're talking about different communities is so important, and that's how they thrive.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Congrats on making that effort, because you're making a big difference. Whether you see it or not, there is a big difference on what you're doing and all the things that you're touching, that they're resonating. I know they're resonating within you first because you love them, but eventually they happen and other people notice.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, my last question for you on the Power of Design podcast is, do you have a question for me?
Gosh, man, do I have a question for you? Well, first, I wanted to say the name of that exhibition I couldn't remember is Future Now, Virtual Sneakers to Cutting Edge Kicks.
Perfect.
So it is too long of a name.
Let me see that.
Yeah, so that is an octopus.
Nice. I need to take my son here.
Yeah. So that exhibition is all about not just like the past,
sneakers,
present, and future of sneakers, but it's about sustainability and like crazy designs through sneakers. It's going to be super cool.
That looks awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, my question for you. Let's see. If you could resurrect any architect ever, and meet them in person, who would it be?
Is easy. Yeah, Le Corbusier.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the dad of every single modern architect.
Yeah.
Because he was just at the inflection point of classical architecture, and then being a modernist and saying, I know you guys have building these beautiful churches, Renaissance, massive, ornaments.
Yeah.
Huge work, and he abstracted architecture. And when he started looking at architecture, not from the field point of view, but from the void point of view, and where architecture is not, and I always say that, as architecture is not what you see. Architecture is the void space in between the walls, the roof, and the ceiling, and how humans are experiencing that space. That's architecture. It's not this shape that we see, and we give them some aesthetic attributes, which is nice. But that's more materiality, that it could be sculpture easily. But that concept of architecture as void, he came up with that. So, you see one of his projects still today, and it looks, you're like, wow. Easy.
I think mine would be Antoni Gaudí.
Oh my goodness.
It would have been Le Corbusier, or however I'm supposed to pronounce that. But until I went to Barcelona last summer, and I really, I studied architectural history, but when I studied architectural history, La Sagrada Familia was much smaller and much less had been done. And I don't think I studied it in a granular way to know just how bonkers of a accomplishment it was. Honestly, if I could go back in time, I would push him out from, he got hit by a streetcar, and that's how he died. I would have pushed him out of the way of the streetcar because like the way that he used materials based on the tensile strength and knowing how tall the tower above a column was going to be. And like all the columns in there are a different color because they're a different material. And the way that he figured out the physics of it without computers, it is alien.
It's mind-blowing.
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 And like, I can't imagine that there was someone that smart at that time that could figure out how to carry like a 700 foot tall load. Like when the final tower is done, just by using, different materials.
I would say intuition.
Yeah.
He was probably trusting his intuition, because there is no way someone could calculate that at that time. And one of the things, I went for the first time, it was probably 2020, 5 years ago. And even if you don't know anything about design or architecture, you don't care. You just go in there and look up
Yeah.
And that is just an amazing emotional experience.
Yeah.
Like what you feel when you're there, it's indescribable.
Well, when I studied it, I don't remember anyone telling me that those columns were supposed to be trees and that the ceiling was supposed to be like looking through a canopy into the stars.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that was the closest thing that I've ever had to a religious experience.
100%.
And it happened because of architecture.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. I can think
100%.
of tons of times that I've been in churches from, the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th century and been like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
But that one, I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And that guy
it's amazing.
died over 100 years ago.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Nice. Well, Clayton, thank you so much for your time today. I'm very happy we got the chance to catch up.
Me too,
and,
man.
This is not going to be the last podcast.
No. And let's not wait 4 years.
Yeah, no, let's do it, man. I'm excited about what you're doing. I'm very proud of your work, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Ditto, man. I'm very proud to see where your company has gone. And I mean, y'all have made so many strides in 4 years. And, our relationship started as clients.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we're still keeping up.
Awesome. Thanks so
man.
much. Thank you for listening to the Power of Design podcast. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review if you like this content. And find us online at thepowerofdesignpodcast.com. I invite you to join my mission to become a better version of yourself through the power of design.